Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to another video. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share these messages so they get out to other people. Have you ever walked into a room or been in a space where somebody just irritates your spirit and you can't figure out why, right? So there's something about them that you just can't put your finger on, and you don't really know what the annoyance is or why you feel the way that you feel about that person. And, if you're being honest with yourself, they're somebody that other people in the room love and think is amazing, but something about them irritates your spirit. I think that all of us have been in this space. And if you haven't, you're amazing. But also, so are the rest of us, because what happens in that situation is that the thing that you're hating in the other person is the thing that you tend to suppress in yourself. So if you can't put your finger on that thing that's annoying you, perhaps it's something that you're really wanting to grow in you or something that you've always had to suppress in childhood. So when I think about this, it's usually the person in the room who has the confidence that is like, literally electrifying. Like you can tell when they walk in the room that they just exude confidence. Now, perhaps they're still insecure about something because all of us are, but it's the aura that they step in the room in. And that used to irritate my spirit so badly. And sometimes it even still does. And I think it was because very early on in my teenage years, like confidence was like a hindrance for me because if you walked in the room with confidence, then you thought you were all that in a bag of chips. And if you're close to my age, you understand this phrase. If you're not, I'm sorry, like I'm aging myself, but that's just the vibe that you got. Like people didn't want other people to be confident. And it's probably because of the same reason that we do it as adults. Like they see in you something that they've had to suppress in themselves. And so I learned very early on that if you walk in a room that way, everybody's going to think that you think that you're, all of that. And it's not considered confidence, it's considered arrogance. And so, in an effort to suppress that and be liked by everyone because of my whole people pleasing tactics, I would just shrink. I would become smaller. I would become less because then you can fly under the radar. And though nobody will say anything great about you, they also won't say anything bad about you, which doesn't ring true because they still find something to say. Everybody's going to have an opinion. But when you think about and you really sit with, why does that person irritate my spirit? Sometimes it's because you're passive and that person is assertive. Sometimes it's because you lived a life in childhood where you had to be perfect and that person's willing to take risk and make mistakes. Sometimes it's because that person is an authority and an expert on a subject and isn't afraid to be. But you came from a place where being an authority means that you think too much of yourself. And so you need to humble yourself, right? And so it's interesting to me to see it happen because I have, friends and coworkers that it happens with, and I also have done it myself before, and I see people doing it like, they have something to say about this person, and in my head I'm like, we don't really even know them, so what you know of them is irritating those places that you've had to suppress and those places that you weren't allowed to be. It's like when you see somebody who's continuously receiving awards or getting accolades, and then there's this other person that it irritates their spirit that that person is always receiving rewards and getting accolades, and that person was never celebrated for their grades when they were a kid or for their accomplishments throughout life, and so it irritates them when other people are celebrated. And when you're thinking about that, when you're thinking about those people, and you really have to sit with this because sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it, I want you to sit with it and think, what is it exposing about me? Like, is there some sort of exposure here of what I couldn't be at a certain point in my life? Like, do I hate the skinny girl because I have a really hard time sticking to a healthy lifestyle with food, or do I have a food addiction? Do I hate the girl who is, in the gym doing her thing because I haven't really figured out the workout that makes me happy and it works for me? And I'm naming things that I've seen people do it with and also that I've had experience myself with. And what is that exposing for you? It exposes some sort of envy and jealousy, but like at what point were you made to think that being the size that you are, being the person that you are, being the way that you are was unacceptable? Because that's what you're going to start to see. The more you have those feelings of annoyance about another person, the more you'll start to uncover the things that you've even subconsciously suppressed about yourself. And then use it as data. Like tell yourself, this tells me what I might need to unleash. Like there's something in there that I've been holding down and I need to unleash that thing. What is it? What is it about this person that irritates my spirit? What is it exposing about me? What is it making me realize about myself? And do I want to unleash this thing? If it's because this person is loud and you think that they're obnoxious because they're loud, is it because you were not allowed to have a voice when you were a child, or people told you to be quiet, or that kids were to be seen and not heard? And now you to be a good girl or a good boy, you've been quiet and silenced and calm and not really who you are, but everyone you see doing that thing irritates your spirit. And then assess it as your new area of growth. So right now, this thing irritates me, but I know based on what I've assessed about myself that that data is telling me that I want to unleash that thing. If I want to laugh loud, I'm going to. If I want to talk loud, I'm going to. If I have something to say, I'm going to say it. I'm not going to be passive. I'm going to be assertive. Whatever your thing is. And then figure out a growth model to make it happen. Oftentimes, when we're indecisive, it's because people thought our decisions were stupid. And I've experienced this, like, couldn't even make a decision about where I wanted to eat. And oftentimes, that indecisiveness comes from our people pleasing parts. And because I wanted to people please, I would let other people pick the restaurant, even though I know I really wanted Mexican food, but I wouldn't say it because I didn't want another person to feel like they were being burdened by taking me to the restaurant that I wanted to go to. And though it sounds insane, it's something that I knew that I had to go through a growth journey to work on. So it will be small things like, I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to make this decision when there's another adult in the room, because I can do it when it's just me and my kids. But like, there's another adult in the room, am I going to try to people please? And then make those small decisions. Start with what you're going to wear, then go to what you're going to eat, then go to where you're going to vacation. Like, do the things that will get you to a place where it becomes commonplace and habit, for that to no longer irritate your spirit because you're no longer willing to suppress it. And then think about this, and this is the real underlying cause and the root of all of these symptoms that I just told you. In what ways was I conditioned to believe that I would be unlovable, that no one would want to love me, and I would lose the love that I already had if I behaved in this way? And then realize that that's a part of you and you're allowed to let it out, and you are lovable exactly as you are with the people, places, and spaces that you're supposed to be in. So unleash that thing, make it part of your growth journey, learn how to make it happen, and then convince yourself that this is a part of you and that it is a very lovable part of you, and that you're allowed to be it, even though you were conditioned to think that it wasn't something that you could be. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for allowing me to use my stories to encourage you. I appreciate you all. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video.